Springtime, oh springtime, what is your secret? Asks Sarojini Naidu, known popularly as the Nightingale of India, in her poem The Joy of the Springtime, one of the several poems she wrote extolling the virtues of the spring season. Now, whether you appreciate poetry or have noticed the colors of springtime, I do not know. But stick around till the end of the episode, and I am sure you will have a taste for both. More on Sarojini Naidu, the beauty of spring, and the many trees that she wrote about in her poetry in this episode of Tree Talk. What can rival your lovely hue, O gorgeous boon of spring? The glimmering red of a bridal robe, rich red of a wild bird's wing, or the mystic blaze of the gem that burns on the brow of a serpent king. Thus begins In Praise of the Gulmohar, a poem in the Songs for Spring collection by Sarojini Naidu. The Gulmohar is only one of the several trees that Naidu mentions in her work. But before we get there, we need to travel further back in time. When she was a young 16-year-old girl, Sarojini Naidu, then Sarojini Chattopadhyay, was studying in England, and being hugely impressed by the works of Western poets like Wordsworth and Shelley, she too began writing poetry in their style. It was only later when poet and mentor Edmund Gosse advised her to write no more about robins and skylarks but to describe the flowers, fruits and trees of her own country that she turned instead to the Indian countryside for her muse. And so she writes in The Magic of Spring about the kimshukas or the palash bursting into dazzling flower, and the semals or the silk cottons burgeoned in crimson pride, and the palm groves reverberating with the orioles and the koels. In Champak Blossoms, she turns to the fragrant champa flowers to make a profound point about beauty and vanity when she says, "You make no boast in your purposeless beauty to serve or profit the world." And much later, in The Coming of Spring, she offers her apology to the spring season for not receiving her with the same enthusiasm as she once did in her younger days. She writes, "O sweet, I am not false to you, only my weary heart of late has fallen from its high estate of laughter and has lost the clue to all the vernal joy it knew. There was a song I used to sing, but now I seek in vain, for the old lilting glad refrain. I have forgotten everything. Forgive me, O my comrade Spring." Although the words that express, encase, and embellish the thoughts of Naidu are in the English language, the emotions, the spirit, and the themes of her poetry are very Indian at their core. One notices in Naidu's poems references to many Indian trees, the gulmohar, the neem, banyan, peepal, silk cotton, mulberry, and several others. Although globally International Women's Day is celebrated on the 8th of March, in India, National Women's Day is celebrated on the 13th of February to mark the birth anniversary of Sarojini Naidu. Not only was Naidu a great poet, but she was also one of the few prominent women leaders of the freedom struggle and the first woman to be made governor in a state of independent India. Listen in to Naidu speaking at the Constituent Assembly back in 1946 and notice how even her political speeches sparkle with poetry. I've added a link to the full speech from the archives of the Prasar Bharti below if you want to check it out, where one can note not just her command over the English language and her great oratory, but also her wit and sense of humor. Do give it a listen.
The manner of your calling me, what, is not constitutional, it is poetic.
Order. No reflections from the chair, please.
It reminds me of some lines of a Kashmiri poet who said, "Bulbul ko gul mubarak, gul ko chaman mubarak, rangeen tabiyaton ko range sukhan mubarak." And today, we are steeped in the rainbow-colored tints of speech and speeches in praise of my great leader and comrade Rajendra Prasad.
I'll end this episode with verses from yet another spring poem called Ecstasy by Naidu, where she alludes to how other things in life can wait as we soak in the magic of the season. Their joy from the birds and the streams let us borrow. O heart, let us sing. The years are before us for weeping and sorrow. Today, it is spring.